The blue-white marble of Earth shrank in the viewport as Ambassador Daniel Wright's shuttle accelerated toward the jump point. His heart raced. In just a few hours, he would become the first human to set foot on the celestial nexus, home of the Galactic Confederation. The year was 2157. Humanity had achieved faster-than-light travel only 15 years ago. Their expansion into nearby star systems had been cautious until they detected artificial signals from deep space. First contact had been made 6 months ago. Now Daniel was on his way to represent all of humanity. "Ambassador, we're approaching the jump point," said the pilot. "You might want to secure yourself." Daniel tightened his harness. The jump was smooth, far smoother than Earth's experimental jumps had been. The technology provided by the Confederation worked flawlessly. When they emerged, Daniel gasped. The celestial nexus floated before them, a massive structure shaped like a wheel with spokes connecting to a central hub. It dwarfed anything humans had built in space. Ships of various shapes and sizes moved around it like busy insects. "It's even more impressive than the images," Daniel whispered. Their shuttle was directed to a docking bay. As the airlock cycled, Daniel straightened his uniform and took a deep breath. The door slid open to reveal a tall figure with grayish-blue skin and 4 arms. 2 large eyes studied him carefully. "Ambassador Wright of Earth, I am Zexlar of the Vordari. I welcome you to the Celestial Nexus," the alien said in perfect English. Daniel extended his hand, then remembered the briefing. He placed his right hand over his heart instead, the universal greeting established by the Confederation. "Thank you for your welcome, Ambassador Zexlar. I am honored to represent Earth." Zexlar's mouthparts moved in what Daniel hoped was a smile. "Come. The Council awaits, though I must warn you, tensions are high." As they walked through wide corridors, Daniel noticed representatives of many species. Some looked almost human, others were wildly different. Floating gas sacks, insectoid creatures, and beings that seemed made of living crystal. "There are 24 species in the Confederation," Zexlar explained. "Some have been spacefaring for thousands of years. Your arrival has caused quite a stir." "Why is that?" Daniel asked. Humans achieved faster-than-light travel very quickly after discovering advanced physics. Most species take centuries longer. They entered a vast chamber where curved tables arranged in tiers faced a central platform. Representatives of various species sat at each table. Many were arguing. "The Krell Empire continues to build up forces near the Solarian border," shouted a feathered being. "We must act now." "The Solarians provoked them by mining in disputed regions," countered another alien with metallic skin. Zexlar leaned close to Daniel. "The Krell and the Solarians have been at odds for decades. The Krell are militaristic, while the Solarians are wealthy in resources. We fear war may be imminent." Daniel nodded, trying to absorb everything. He was led to a small table marked with Earth's symbol. As he sat down, many of the alien representatives studied him with obvious curiosity or dismissal. A tall, elegant being with translucent skin stood on the central platform. "This council is now in session. First, let us welcome Earth's representative, Ambassador Daniel Wright." Polite acknowledgments rippled through the chamber, though some representatives remained silent. "Humans are primitive newcomers," a harsh voice said loudly. "They have no place in matters of galactic security." Daniel stood up. "Earth may be new to the galactic community, but we have much to offer. We seek peaceful cooperation and—" A deafening explosion cut him off. The chamber shook violently. Alarm sirens wailed as lights flickered. "We're under attack," someone shouted. Zexlar grabbed Daniel's arm with one of his 4 hands. "Come quickly. We must reach the shelters." As they rushed from the chamber, Daniel saw armored figures entering through a breached wall. They fired weapons that sent representatives diving for cover. "Who's attacking?" Daniel asked as Zexlar pulled him into a side corridor. "I don't know," Zexlar said, his voice tight with fear. "But this changes everything. The war has begun, Ambassador Wright, and your world has just been pulled into the middle of it." Another explosion rocked the station as the light of weapons fire flashed behind them. 6 months had passed since the attack on the Celestial Nexus. The conflict between the Krell Empire and the Solarian Alliance had erupted into open warfare. Battles raged across multiple star systems, and the once peaceful Confederation had split into factions. Captain Lisa Howard stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defender, Earth's most advanced warship. Through the main viewport, she watched as her crew prepared for their next mission. The Defender wasn't as large or as flashy as the alien vessels she had seen, but it was quick and packed a punch. "Captain, we've received our official orders from Earth Command," said her first officer, Lieutenant Ben Price. Lisa nodded. "Let's hear it." "We are to escort Dr. Alan Carter and his team to the Vega sector to study a recently discovered artifact. The artifact is located at the edge of Confederation space. A science mission. In the middle of a war zone." Lisa frowned. Apparently, this artifact is of great importance. Command believes it could change the course of the war. Lisa sighed. Scientists, always poking at things better left alone. "When does Dr. Carter arrive?" As if on cue, the bridge doors slid open. A thin man with unruly brown hair and thick glasses stepped through. He was clutching a tablet to his chest like it contained the secrets of the universe. "Dr. Alan Carter, reporting as ordered, Captain," he said, his voice cracking slightly. "My team is being shown to their quarters now." Lisa studied him. He didn't look like much, but his file said he was the brightest mind Earth had to offer in exotic physics. "Welcome aboard, Doctor. I understand we're headed to study some kind of artifact." Dr. Carter's eyes lit up. "Not just any artifact, Captain. Based on preliminary scans, it appears to be a weapons platform. Ancient, but intact. The technology is far beyond even what the Confederation has developed." Lisa didn't like the sound of that. "And Earth wants this technology." "Earth wants to understand it," Carter corrected. "If the Krell get their hands on it first." He didn't need to finish the sentence. The journey to the Vega sector took 3 days. Lisa used the time to run combat drills. If they were heading into contested space, she wanted her crew sharp. When they arrived, the artifact came into view. It was a massive structure, shaped like a spiral with sharp edges. It hung motionless against the backdrop of stars, dark and silent. "It's beautiful," Dr. Carter whispered as he stood on the bridge. "Begin scans," Lisa ordered. "And keep an eye out for company. I don't want any surprises." For 2 days, Dr. Carter and his team studied the artifact from the safety of the Defender. They sent drones to collect data and ran countless simulations. The more they learned, the more excited Carter became. This platform was designed to harness energy from subspace, he explained to Lisa one evening. It could power an entire fleet, or it could deliver a strike capable of destroying a planet. And the most interesting part, it was built to respond to specific neural patterns. Lisa was about to ask what that meant when alarms blared across the ship. "Captain, 3 Krell warships just dropped out of FTL," called out the tactical officer. "They're powering weapons." "Battle stations," Lisa ordered. "Protective formation around the artifact. Dr. Carter, gather your data and prepare to evacuate if necessary." The Krell ships approached rapidly, their sleek, predatory forms reminding Lisa of sharks. "They're hailing us," said the communications officer. "On screen," Lisa replied. A reptilian face appeared on the main display. "Human vessel, you have entered restricted space. Surrender the artifact research immediately or be destroyed." Lisa kept her expression neutral. "This is neutral territory according to Confederation law. We have every right to be here." The Krell commander hissed. "The Confederation's laws no longer apply. You have 1 minute to comply." As the transmission ended, Dr. Carter rushed to Lisa's side. "Captain, I've detected something strange. The Krell are using quantum field generators that were banned by Confederation treaties 50 years ago. The radiation signature is unmistakable." Lisa's eyes narrowed. Can you record that data? Get proof. Carter nodded. Already have. Good. Lisa turned to her crew. Prepare for emergency jump. We're leaving. The Defender shuddered as the first Krell shots struck their shields. Lisa knew they couldn't win against 3 warships, but they could escape with something more valuable than the artifact itself. Evidence of Krell violations that might finally force the Confederation to take action. Jump now, she ordered as the ship rocked from another hit. The stars stretched into lines as the Defender escaped, carrying crucial information that would soon change the course of the war. Ambassador Daniel Wright stood at the back of the Confederation Council chamber. 3 weeks had passed since Captain Howard's encounter with the Krell. Daniel had presented the evidence of treaty violations 7 times. Each time, the Council found reasons to delay action. The evidence is not conclusive, said the Vexorian representative, his tentacles waving dismissively. Humans may have misunderstood the energy signatures. Daniel took a deep breath to calm himself. Dr. Carter is one of Earth's leading experts on quantum physics. His analysis is sound. Nevertheless, we require further investigation before taking action against the Krell, the Vexorian replied. As the Council moved on to other matters, Daniel felt a light touch on his shoulder. He turned to see a tall, slender alien with skin that shimmered like black opal. They will never listen, the alien said softly. Not until it's too late. Daniel recognized her as Trillax, representative of the Nyx Collective. The Nyx were known for their neutrality in galactic affairs. Why not? Daniel asked. Because half the Council profits from Krell trade, and the other half fears their military. Trillax's large eyes blinked slowly. But my people are concerned. We would like to speak with you privately. Later that day, Daniel met Trillax in a quiet garden chamber on the lower levels of the Celestial Nexus. The Nyx have observed humans since your first steps into space, she explained. Your species adapts quickly. You think differently than most. This interests us. Is that why you've remained neutral while we presented our case? We wanted to see how you would handle the situation. Trillax handed him a small crystal. This contains coordinates. Your Captain Howard took refuge at one of our outposts after escaping the Krell. We have been analyzing the data she collected. Daniel's eyes widened. You've been helping her. The Nyx help themselves, Ambassador. But in this case, our interests may align. Across the galaxy, Captain Lisa Howard stood in a gleaming laboratory on Nyx Prime. Dr. Carter worked alongside several Nyx scientists, their hands moving over holographic displays. The analysis confirms it, Carter said excitedly. The Krell are using quantum field manipulation to increase their weapons' power. They found a way to harvest energy from subspace, similar to how the ancient artifact works. But that's forbidden technology, Lisa said. It destabilizes the fabric of space-time. Precisely, replied a Nyx scientist named Ven. If continued, it could trigger cascading failures across multiple star systems. Lisa frowned. So why help us? The Nyx have always stayed out of conflicts. Ven's dark eyes studied her. Your species is unique, Captain Howard. When faced with superior technology, most species surrender or retreat. Humans adapt and improvise. This interests us. Their conversation was interrupted when a new ship docked at the station. A slender figure with shimmering golden skin entered the laboratory. I am Ilara, diplomatic envoy of the Solarian Alliance, she announced. I bring grave news. The Solarian explained that her people were being systematically enslaved by the Krell. Mining colonies were being captured, their populations forced to extract rare minerals. These minerals, Dr. Carter said, studying the data Ilara provided, they're essential components for the quantum field generators the Krell are using. Ilara nodded sadly. My people are dying to build weapons that violate the very treaties that should protect us. Lisa studied the star charts showing Krell expansion. They're targeting worlds with specific resources, following a pattern. Dr. Carter's face suddenly paled as he overlaid the data with charts of known resource deposits. Captain, according to this, Earth has the largest deposits of these minerals in the sector. You believe they will target your homeworld next? Ilara asked. Lisa and Dr. Carter exchanged worried glances. Not just target, Lisa said grimly. Based on these patterns, they've been planning to all along. Then we have little time, Ven said. The Nix Council has authorized me to offer you access to our technology. We will not fight your war, but we will help you defend yourselves. Lisa looked around at the unlikely allies gathered in the Nix laboratory. Humans, Nix, and Solarians, united by a common threat. Then let's get to work, she said. Earth needs to know what's coming. General Richard Miller paced the length of Earth's military command center. Representatives from every major nation had gathered to discuss the Krell threat. The room fell silent as Captain Lisa Howard's report ended. So the Krell want our resources, and they've been harvesting other species to get them, General Miller summarized. And the Confederation won't help. Not officially, Ambassador Wright said from the video screen. But we have allies. The Nix are providing technical assistance, and the Solarians have shared intelligence on Krell fleet movements. Admiral Kate Jones, the highest-ranking officer in Earth's space forces, stepped forward. Our ships are faster than Krell vessels, but their weapons are far more powerful. In a direct confrontation, we would lose. The room grew tense. Earth had only 15 warships capable of faster-than-light travel. The Krell had hundreds. Then we don't fight directly, General Miller said. He turned to Dr. Carter, who sat quietly in the corner. Doctor, you've been studying both Krell and Nix technology. What have you found? Dr. Carter adjusted his glasses nervously. The Krell rely heavily on energy shields and quantum-based weapons. These are far beyond our technology level. But, he paused, looking uncertain. Go on, urged Miller. Their systems are designed to counter similarly advanced technology. Our primitive weapons might actually work better than expected. The Krell have optimized their defenses against energy weapons, not physical projectiles or nuclear detonations. Admiral Jones looked skeptical. You're suggesting we use missiles and nukes against ships that can travel between stars? Precisely, Dr. Carter nodded. The Nix scientists helped me develop a hybrid system. We can use their shield technology to get close, then deploy conventional Earth weapons when the Krell least expect it. General Miller smiled for the first time. They won't be looking for rocks when they're expecting lasers. Within weeks, Earth's ships were retrofitted with Nix shielding technology. The U.S. Defender became the testbed for Dr. Carter's hybrid weapons systems. Captain Howard supervised the modifications personally. Will it work? She asked Dr. Carter as they inspected the new missile tubes. In theory, he replied. The Nix say human approach to warfare is unusual. Most species abandoned physical projectiles centuries ago. Sometimes the old ways work best, Lisa said. On the Celestial Nexus, Ambassador Wright faced ridicule when he presented Earth's defense plans. Nuclear weapons, kinetic projectiles. The Vexorian representative laughed. Surely you jest, Ambassador. Such primitive approaches would never penetrate modern shields. We will defend ourselves with whatever means necessary, Daniel replied calmly. The humans waste their time, remarked a Krell observer from the back of the chamber. Their world will fall within days once our fleet arrives. Before Daniel could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. A communications officer rushed in. Urgent news from the Sol system. A Krell scout force has attacked the human lunar colonies. All eyes turned to the main screen as footage appeared. 3 Krell destroyers approached Earth's moon, firing energy weapons at the human settlements. Then, unexpectedly, a small force of Earth ships emerged from behind the moon. The Krell ships fired, their energy beams splashing against the modified shields of the human vessels. The Earth ships closed distance rapidly, then launched what appeared to be primitive missiles. The Krell made no attempt to evade. clearly expecting their shields to handle such Arctic weapons. But when the missiles detonated, they released specially calibrated electromagnetic pulses that disrupted the Krell shield harmonics. Follow-up nuclear strikes hit the unprotected ships directly. The chamber watched in stunned silence as two Krell destroyers erupted in flames. The third managed to jump away, heavily damaged. The Vexorian representative's tentacles drooped in shock. Impossible. Daniel couldn't help but smile. As Dr. Carter theorized, sometimes older technology has advantages. The Krell expected energy weapons, not physical explosions. News of the victory spread quickly through the Confederation. Humanity, the primitive newcomers, had successfully defended against Krell attackers. Species that had dismissed humans began to reconsider their position. On Earth, General Miller received the report of their success with grim satisfaction. "It's a good start," he told his officers. "But this was just a scout force. The real test is yet to come." The President of the United Earth Council stood before the world's cameras. Her face was solemn as she addressed billions of humans across the planet and colonies. "Today, Earth formally declares war against the Krell Empire," she announced. "We did not seek this conflict. We have attempted diplomacy. But the Krell attacks on our lunar colonies made their intentions clear. Humanity will not surrender. We will not be enslaved. We will fight." Across the galaxy, news of Earth's declaration spread quickly. Most Confederation species were shocked. Declaring war against the Krell Empire was considered suicide for a young spacefaring race. Admiral Susan Clark stood on the bridge of the U.S. Intrepid, Earth's largest battleship. Around her, a fleet of 30 vessels prepared to jump to their target. Thanks to the Nix and Solarians, Earth had built more ships in record time. "All vessels report ready, Admiral," her second-in-command reported. Susan nodded. "Begin jump sequence. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth today. We're fighting for the Solarians who have been enslaved on mining colony XB-12. The fleet jumped, emerging near a rocky planet orbiting a red dwarf star. Scans showed massive Krell mining operations on the surface. Thousands of Solarian prisoners worked in harsh conditions, extracting the rare minerals the Krell needed. Krell Defense Fleet detected, called out the sensor officer. 5 destroyers and 1 command vessel. "Deploy as planned," Susan ordered. "Carrier group, launch fighters. Assault group, prepare for ground deployment." The human fleet split into 3 formations. The Krell responded with confidence, advancing their destroyers in a standard attack pattern. They clearly didn't consider the human vessels a serious threat, despite the recent lunar battle. Susan smiled grimly. "They still think we're primitive." "Good." Dr. Carter, who had insisted on joining the mission, stood nearby monitoring energy readings. "Admiral, I'm detecting something unusual in their shield configurations. They've modified them since the lunar engagement." "Will our weapons still work?" Susan asked. Carter adjusted his instruments. "Yes, but not as effectively. We'll need to get closer than planned." Susan relayed new orders to the fleet. The human ships accelerated directly toward the Krell destroyers, taking heavy fire. Shields flickered but held long enough for the ships to reach their new position. "All vessels, deploy primary weapons now," Susan commanded. The human fleet launched hundreds of missiles. As they approached the Krell ships, each missile split into smaller projectiles, creating a cloud of metal and explosives that overwhelmed the Krell point defense systems. 3 Krell destroyers erupted in flames, but the remaining 2 adjusted quickly, changing shield frequencies and evasion patterns. "They're learning," Carter warned. The battle intensified. Human ships took heavy damage. The U.S. Dauntless exploded when a Krell energy beam penetrated its weakened shields, but the ground assault had already begun, with human troops landing near the mining facilities. On the planet's surface, Major Frank Peterson led his Marines through the mining tunnels. They had trained with Solarian advisors to prepare for this mission. "Remember, quick and precise," he told his team. "Civilians first, then take the control center." The Krell guards were unprepared for human combat tactics. While most advanced species relied on energy weapons, human Marines used a combination of projectile weapons, flashbang grenades, and close-quarters combat. The Krell, with their large frames and reliance on heavy weaponry, struggled in the confined spaces. Within 2 hours, the human forces had secured the main mining complex and freed over 2,000 Solarian prisoners. In space, Admiral Clark's fleet had destroyed all but one Krell vessel, which jumped away, presumably to report back. "Casualty report," Susan requested, her voice tight. "7 ships lost, 12 damage," her officer replied. "Ground forces report 18 dead, 43 wounded. Over 2,000 Solarians rescued." Susan closed her eyes briefly. Every human loss hurt, but they had achieved their objective. When news of the successful operation reached the Confederation, the reaction was mixed. Some species viewed the human victory as luck. Others began to see humanity in a new light. Ambassador Daniel Wright received dozens of meeting requests from previously dismissive representatives. The news also reached the Krell High Command, where the Supreme Commander raged at his subordinates. "Find their weakness," he hissed. "No primitive species defeats the Krell Empire." Dr. Alan Carter couldn't sleep. For 3 days straight, he had been studying data from the captured Krell technology. Something didn't add up. The energy signatures of their weapons showed unusual patterns that defied conventional physics. The door to his lab on the U.S. Defender slid open as Captain Lisa Howard entered. She carried 2 cups of coffee. "You look terrible," she said, handing him a cup. "Find anything?" Carter took a sip and pointed to his screen. "These energy readings from the Krell weapons aren't normal. They're being amplified by an outside source. And look at this." He pulled up another display showing battle records. "The Krell ships near the artifact we found showed a 20% power increase compared to the ones we fought at Earth." Lisa frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means someone is feeding them power. This war." Carter hesitated. "I don't think it's what it appears to be." Lisa was about to respond when alarms blared. The ship's AI announced, "Priority transmission from Admiral Clark." Susan Clark's face appeared on the main screen. She looked grim. "Captain Howard, we've intercepted Krell communications that mention an operation called Harvest Protocol. They're planning something big, and it involves the artifact you discovered. We need to investigate," Lisa decided. "Dr. Carter believes there's more to this war than we know." Admiral Clark nodded. "Take a small team. Stay under the radar. The U.S. Defender is fast enough to slip past their patrols." 3 days later, the Defender dropped out of FTL at the edge of Krell territory. Lisa had assembled a small infiltration team, including Dr. Carter and Lieutenant Ben Price. "Passive scans only," Lisa ordered. "Let's not announce our presence." They navigated through asteroid fields and gas clouds, avoiding Krell patrols. Eventually, they reached a massive space station orbiting a dying star. "That's not Krell design," Carter whispered, studying the station through the view screen. "It's too elegant." Using a captured Krell shuttle, Lisa, Carter, and Price infiltrated the station. They moved silently through dimly lit corridors, avoiding patrols. "Listen," Price whispered. They heard Krell voices from a nearby chamber. Lisa gestured for them to take cover as they peered inside. Several Krell officers stood before a tall, slender alien with purple skin that seemed to shimmer with inner light. Lisa recognized the species from Confederation meetings. "That's a musician," she whispered. "They're supposed to be peaceful scholars." "The human ships damaged our southern mining operation," a Krell commander reported. "Production quotas will not be met." The musician's voice was eerily melodic. "Increase harvesting on the northern continent. The deadline cannot change. The ascension requires precise timing." After the meeting ended, the 3 humans searched the station's data cores. Carter downloaded files while Lisa and Price stood guard. "These records go back centuries," Carter said in disbelief. "The musicians have been manipulating the Krell and Solarians. pushing them toward conflict. But why start a war? Lisa asked. Carter's face paled as he read further. This mentions psychic energy harvest and ascension fields. They're not just mining physical resources. They're harvesting the energy generated by conflict and death. Across the galaxy on the Celestial Nexus, Ambassador Daniel Wright was leaving a council meeting when a hooded figure approached him. "Ambassador, we must speak privately," the figure whispered. Daniel followed cautiously to a secluded area. The figure revealed himself as a Muxizian diplomat named Carol. "Your species is in grave danger," Carol said. "My government has been infiltrated by extremists called the Directorate. They believe they can achieve godhood through a process called ascension." "Why tell me this?" Daniel asked suspiciously. "Because the process requires massive energy release through simultaneous deaths. They engineered this war for that purpose. And humans." Carol paused. "Humans are the final component. Your brain patterns generate unique energy signatures when in distress." A sudden noise made them both turn. 3 musicians stood at the end of the corridor, weapons raised. "Traitor," one hissed at Carol. A beam of energy struck the diplomat in the chest. Daniel ran as energy blasts hit the wall behind him. He had to warn Earth. The war wasn't about resources or territory. It was about something far worse. Admiral Susan Clark stood before the largest gathering of military leaders in Earth's history. Representatives from every nation listened intently as she outlined what they now knew about the true nature of the war. "The Muxizians have been manipulating both the Krell and the Solarians for centuries," she explained. "They engineered this conflict to harvest energy from death and suffering. And now they plan to use humans as the final component in their ascension device." General Miller frowned. "How do we fight an enemy that's been playing both sides for hundreds of years?" "By changing the game," Susan replied. She brought up a holographic display showing Earth's fleet. "Thanks to the Nyx and Solarians, we now have 60 warships. Not enough to win by conventional means, but enough for our plan." Dr. Carter stepped forward. He looked exhausted but determined. "The Muxizian Ascension device is located near the artifact we discovered. It draws power from the dying star nearby. Our analysis of their technology shows one weakness. They never expected humans to interfere. Our brains work differently," Ambassador Wright added. "The Muxizian mind control that affects the Krell doesn't work on us. That's why they wanted to harvest us rather than control us." Susan continued. "We've developed technology based on Dr. Carter's research that can shield other species from Muxizian influence. We need to get close enough to deploy it." The plan was set. While Susan prepared the main fleet, Captain Lisa Howard and the U.S. Defender would take a small team to the ancient artifact. They would deploy Dr. Carter's shield technology, freeing the Krell from Muxizian control. 2 weeks later, the human fleet gathered at the edge of the solar system. Ships from the Nyx and Solarians joined them, creating an impressive but still outnumbered force. Admiral Clark addressed all vessels from the bridge of her flagship. "Today we fight not just for Earth, but for all free species in the galaxy. The Muxizians have manipulated us all long enough." The combined fleet jumped to the coordinates of the ancient artifact. They emerged to find a massive Krell armada guarding the Muxizian Ascension device. A gigantic structure shaped like a spiral that pulsed with ominous light. "All ships, engage as planned," Susan ordered. The space around the artifact erupted in weapons fire. Human ships deployed their unique hybrid weapons, while mixed vessels provided shield support. The Solarians, with their more advanced technology, targeted the Krell command ships. Dr. Carter monitored the battle from the U.S. Defender, which hung back from the main fight. "The Ascension device is powering up," he warned. "They're starting the process early." Lisa nodded grimly. "Then we move now." She ordered the Defender to accelerate toward the artifact, using the chaos of battle as cover. The sleek human ship weaved through debris and weapons fire. Several Krell ships broke off to pursue them, but the Defender was faster. They'd reached the perimeter of the artifact, just as the Ascension device began to emit pulses of strange energy. The device is targeting populated systems, Carter said in horror. It's going to drain life energy from billions of beings simultaneously. Can we stop it? Lisa asked. Carter checked his instruments. Not from here. Someone needs to board the central control chamber and reverse the energy flow. Lisa looked around at her crew. The Defender is the only ship that made it through. It's up to us. The U.S. Defender docked with the ancient artifact. Lisa, Dr. Carter, and a small team of Marines prepared to board. If we succeed, Carter said, we'll not only stop the ascension, but we can use the device to broadcast our shield technology to all Krell ships at once. And if we fail? Asked Lieutenant Price. Lisa checked her weapon. Then billions die, including everyone on Earth. Outside, the battle raged. Admiral Clark's fleet fought valiantly but was taking heavy losses. The Mxizian Ascension device grew brighter with each passing minute, its energy tendrils reaching out toward inhabited systems. Everything now depended on the small team aboard the U.S. Defender. Captain Lisa Howard led her team through the twisting corridors of the ancient artifact. The structure hummed with power as the Mxizian Ascension device continued to charge. This way, Dr. Carter said, following readings on his device. The control chamber should be ahead. They encountered several Mxizian guards. The aliens were taller than humans, with shimmering purple skin and eyes that glowed with inner light. Despite their elegant appearance, they fought fiercely. They're desperate, Lisa said after they defeated another group. They know we can stop them. When they finally reached the central chamber, they found it dominated by a massive crystal structure. Energy flowed from the dying star outside, through the artifact, and into the Ascension device. A tall Mxizian stood at the controls. Unlike the others, his skin had a golden tint. He turned as they entered. Humans, he said with disgust, always interfering where you don't belong. This ends now, Lisa declared, raising her weapon. The Mxizian laughed. You have no idea what you're stopping. The Ascension will elevate our species to a higher plane of existence. We will become gods. By killing billions, Dr. Carter replied. That's not Ascension. That's murder. The Mxizian raised his hand, and energy crackled from his fingertips. Your primitive minds cannot comprehend our vision. A fierce battle erupted in the chamber. The Mxizian leader wielded powers unlike anything they had encountered before. 2 Marines fell to his energy blasts before Lisa managed to flank him and fire a well-placed shot. As the Mxizian fell, Dr. Carter rushed to the control crystal. I need time to understand this technology, he said urgently. How much time? Lisa asked, watching as more alarms began to sound. More than we have, Carter admitted. Suddenly, the chamber door opened again. Everyone raised their weapons, but Lisa gasped in surprise when Krell soldiers entered. Leading them was a massive Krell commander. Hold fire, Lisa ordered her team. The Krell commander studied them with reptilian eyes. The human shield technology has freed many of our ships from Mxizian control. We understand what has been done to us. Then help us stop the Ascension device, Lisa urged. The Krell commander stepped forward. Our scientists studied this technology for centuries under Mxizian direction. I know how it works. Together, Dr. Carter and the Krell commander worked on the control crystal. Outside, the battle had shifted. Many Krell ships had stopped fighting, their crews freed from Mxizian influence. We're reversing the energy flow, Carter explained as his hands flew over the controls. Instead of harvesting life energy, we're using the device to broadcast the shield frequency to every corner of the galaxy. The chamber shook violently as the energy patterns changed. The crystal began to glow with blinding intensity. It's working, the Krell commander announced. But the system is becoming unstable. We need to evacuate, Lisa ordered. Everyone back to the ship. As they raced back through the corridors, the entire artifact trembled. They barely made it back to the U.S. Defender before the structure began to break apart. Get us out of here, Lisa commanded as they undocked. The defender pulled away just as the ascension device imploded, creating a brilliant flash of light that temporarily blinded their sensors. When the light faded, the artifact remained, but the musician device was gone. Throughout the galaxy, the shield frequency spread, freeing those under musician influence. The Krell fleet stood down, their commanders now aware of how they had been manipulated for centuries. 2 weeks later, Ambassador Daniel Wright stood before the Confederation Council. The chamber was packed with representatives from every species. The Musician Directorate has been dismantled, he reported. Their leaders will face justice for their crimes. A Krell representative stepped forward. The Krell Empire offers peace to all species we have wronged under Musician influence. We seek to make amends. The council chamber erupted in discussion. When it quieted, the Confederation leader spoke. This crisis has revealed both terrible truths and new possibilities. No single species could have stopped the musicians alone. It took human ingenuity, Nyx technology, Solarian intelligence, and even Krell strength once freed from control. The leader turned to Daniel. Humanity has proven itself not just worthy of Confederation membership, but of leadership. We offer Earth a permanent seat on the High Council. Daniel smiled. In just 1 year, humanity had gone from unknown newcomers to a respected galactic power. Not through conquest, but through determination, adaptability, and the willingness to stand up for what was right. The stars had never looked brighter.